What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Today we're looking at another of the CJRB knives. This is, of course, the budget line by Artisan. I have looked at the Centros and one of their other knives already. Look, these are fantastic G10 and D2 knives, but this one in particular appeals to me because, as you guys may have noticed, I do love a good cleaver-style knife. And that's what this is. It has a little bit of a choil up here. It's a little short, actually, the choil, for me to get my finger in really well. But if you had normal-sized hands, this would work pretty well. What you get, of course, is this lovely cleaver-style blade. You get G10. You get steel liners that are not milled. You get barrel back spacers and a factory deep carry clip that is, in fact, deep carry, which is really, really nice. The action on these CJRB knives is, well, just really very good. You know, Artisan does make good knives. They've made good budget versions of their more expensive knives, and now, of course, they're doing this, which is just a straight budget line, and it is really very good. I mean, for $35, you get one heck of a knife. I do love the orange pivot collars on this. I think that is really attractive. This is the serial number is the 1904, and this is called the Crag. It has a reversible pocket clip. It is tip-up carry only, but you can go left or right hand, which is a really nice feature. This is just a great knife. I've had it in my pocket a bunch since I got it. This one actually belongs to me. I bought this and the Centros at the same time when they first came out, and I just sort of carry them on and off. I wanted to see how the D2 held up to basic use, to the sweat in my pocket, to, well, just basically everyday carry tasks. And as it stands, I've not had any discoloration. I've not had any even marks really appear on these D2 blades. I'm going to say that Artisan is doing a really good job with their D2 here. And that matters, of course, right? D2 not being the most stainless of steels, excuse me. How they heat treat it, how they stonewash it, how they basically care for it before it lands in the knife matters for its overall long-term survivability. And my opinion after actually a couple of weeks now is that the CJRB knives have good D2 in them, and that matters. It is comfortable in my hand, and I mean really comfortable. Of course, I tend to like these sort of squared off handles and grips. It's got a little bit of a choil here for your finger to grab onto. It is, of course, excellent for push cuts. It's got a nice swedge cut into it through here on the blade that allows it to have a nice narrow tip down here. It is a high flat grind, and it is reasonably, but not super, thin behind the edge. This is not a razor blade or a laser beam. It is a really nice working knife. These stamped steel clips that they use, in this world of milled titanium and milled everything else under the sun, stamped steel clips don't get enough credit. This is a really well done clip. It has just enough rise and ramp. It has good spring. It sits in the pocket very well. The only thing that I would have asked them to do, and this is on all of their knives, is to use flat screws when you put it on, flat screws for the clip. I can't speak, watch me go. Because they do hang up on your pocket a little bit. There's not a lot of space right up here. But, I haven't had any complaints about it. It's got a lanyard hole that does not have a barrel. It's just two open spaces. If lanyards are your jam, this knife is set up to do that for you. I guess I don't know what else to say about this except the world of budget knives is thick. There are a lot. But when you can get a company with a track record like Artisan's of making good knives who decides to step into the fray, they tend to bring their best game forward. And so far, I think they have done a great job. The G10 it's got some traction on it without being stabby or pokey. The edges are milled, and so they're chamfered so that it is nice in the hand. There are no hot spots. Well, maybe a little right here where it sits on the meat of my hand. But I haven't, my version of hard use, of course, is packages and tape and some cordage. I'm not out beating the crap out of these things. So it's entirely possible that someone who hard uses this knife more than I would might notice a bit of a hot spot. But quite frankly, for EDC and everyday carry, this has given me no issues at all. Let's take a look at the blade length. just because that's what we do. We have 1, 2, 3, 3 1/8 of cutting surface, 3.5 inches of D2 steel. Overall length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1/8, really, 8 1/8 overall in length. It is just at that 1/2 inch mark through the handle, which means that it tends to sit in the pocket very well. This is a relatively big knife, but of course I like that. And you may not, and that's okay. Let's take a look at it in comparison to our friend here, the Rat Model 1. And if we line the blades up on that line, you can see that the Rat Model 1 is considerably longer. But when it comes to cutting area, you get basically exactly the same. So you get as much blade as you do on a Rat 1, you just get a little less handle. And that's okay, because I got a lot of handle sticking out on the Rat 1. I don't know, I think this is a really nice knife. I do. And of course, as someone has mentioned, I'm looking at you, Chad, in my reviews many times, I do like a good cleaver. I really do. I think it's one for, look, so because I'm not out gas station fighting and I'm not out, I don't know, doing whatever it is people do with really pointy blades that much, a good cleaver offers you strength and durability. It offers you often belly. It offers you a nice fine tip when you need one right there. And a strong tip too, because it's supported by all this metal. I think that a cleaver blade is probably, for me, the most useful of EDC blades. It doesn't mean that it's what I'm after all the time, of course, but overall, the overarching feeling for me is that a cleaver blade is probably the most useful of EDC blades. It allows me to do the most things in the most versatile ways with the most durability. Yeah, I just like a good cleaver, and this is a good cleaver. Now, CJRB has other knives coming out. Some of them are really interesting looking. There will be more on the channel as we go down the road. For a while there, I really moved away from D2 and G10, but you know, you miss out on a lot of really good and interesting knives when you get it in your head that everything has to be titanium and super steel and blah, 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 when quite frankly, in this day and this age, and particularly in this market, there are stellar knives at the $35 to, let's say, $50 price point. And so I am actively working to bring some of those back into my consciousness and back into the collection, because this is just a ton of fun. It's a silly, great knife. Anyway, I guess that'll do it. This has been the CJRB Crag. I have been a therapeutic edge. You have been my amazing audience. If you have any questions about the Crag or the Centros or any of the knives you've seen on my channel, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. I'd love it if you drop this video a like, and we'll see you next time.